Hey fourth graders, today you will be adding and subtracting fractions. You're going to have to complete two math trainers, so your first one is your orange. When you click on the orange, you'll be brought to the first question, where it says, Brian says that when you add or subtract fractions with the same denominator, you can add or subtract the numerators and keep the same denominator. Is Brian correct? All right, let's think about this. He said you can add or subtract the numerator and keep the same denominator. You're right. You can add and subtract the numerator and keep the same denominator. So it says the blank tells the number of equal parts to the count. All right, the denominator or the numerator? The numerator tells the number of equal sized part to the count. And the denominator, which is the bottom, tells the size of the parts. You can add or subtract all right, we know that we can add and subtract the numerator if the denominator is the same, so I'm going to click numerator, to find the number of equal sized parts to the count. Since the size of the parts do not change, the denominator will always stay the same. Hence, Brian he's correct. He is correct. We're going to click check answer. Well done. Now we're ready to move on to the next question, number 2. Okay, the length of a rope was 6/9 yards, so 6/9 yards. Jeff cut the rope into 3 pieces. Each piece is a different length measured in its ninths of a yard. Enter the length of each piece of the rope. The length of each piece of the rope is 1/9 yard, blank yard, and blank yard. Okay, so I know that I have 6/9, right? And it's already given me one of the addends as 1/9, and I need to get to 6/9, right? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take my 6/9, okay, and subtract it by 1/9. Okay, I know that 6 minus 1 would give me 5, and my denominator stays the same. So, I need to make sure that my numerator has 5. So I'm going to break up 5. I know that 2 plus 3 equals 5. And check answer. Well done, and I can move on. You'll be able to submit it over here on this side, but I do not have that option. When you are done, you could go to the next math trainer. Click on it. When you go through, you're going to have a few addition and subtraction problems. Okay, some of them are 2-part problems. Again, remember when you add a fraction, you click on this. Here you could type in the numerator. Here you could type in the denominator. When you go through, you'll get a few different questions. I like to stop at a few questions to help you guys out. So let's look at this one. Christopher mixes 2/8 of a gallon of red paint, 5/8 gallons of blue paint to make purple paint. He uses 3/8 gallon of purple paint. How much purple paint is left? So what I'm going to do first is add 2/8 and 5/8. I know I could just add the top, my numerator. So 2 plus 5 equals 7. So that means I have 7/8 gallons of paint. If he uses 3/8, I'm just going to subtract 7 minus 3, which equals 4, and my denominator stays the same. Check answer and move on. Okay, this is the one that gets tricky, and I want to help you with it. A city worker is painting a stripe down the center of Main Street. Main Street is 8/12 of a mile long. The worker painted 4/12 of a mile long. Complete the explanation of how to find what part of the mile is left to paint. So I have a question mark here. Let's see. It says add or subtract. Well, I'm going to subtract my 8/12 minus 4/12 because I already painted that. So this is my whole, and this is what I'm taking away from it. So I'm going to subtract these two fractions. To find the difference, I will subtract the denominators or numerators. So am I going to subtract the bottoms or the tops? It's always the tops. The denominator will change or stay the same? The denominator, stay the same. Then you can enter the unsimplified fraction. All right, so just going across, what is 8 minus 4? I know, it's 4. My bottom stays the same. My denominator stays the same. I leave it as 12. Press check answer, and there you go. So you could go back to your last math trainer to figure this one out. So all you're going to do is rewind this video. We already did this question. Again, we did this one in the first math trainer. Here's a few addition and subtraction problems. You have to tell me whether the sum or difference is correct. So you just click down, press yes or no. Okay, what we have left is with numbers 12 and 13, and that's what I'm going to go over today. So let's start with number 12. So Harry says that 1/3 plus 1/6 equals 2 over 6. Jane says that 1/3 plus 1/6 equals 3 over 6. Whose answer makes sense? Whose answer is nonsense? Complete the explanation. Okay, so we have Harry and we have Jane. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my sheet of paper to help me look through this. So I have 1/3 and I have 1/6. I'm going to write that here. I have 1/3 and I have 1/6. Now, I can't add or subtract these fractions because they have different denominators. But I know I can multiply my fraction by a whole in order to get an equivalent fraction. So I'm going to try to get my 3 to equal 6. And I know I can multiply 3 times 2 to equal 6. And whatever I multiply my denominator by, I have to do the same to my numerator. So I'm going to multiply this by 2 as well. So what I'm going to do is make this, I'm going to multiply across. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, so now I know 1/3 really equals 2 over 6. Okay, so if I have 2 over 6 plus 1 over 6, I just add across because my denominators are the same. 2 plus 1 is 3. Keep my denominator the same. So that means it equals 3 over 6. So I'm going to go back to my math trainer, okay? So whose answer makes sense? Whose is nonsense? So let's go to Harry, okay? He says 1/3 plus 1/6 is 2 over 6. I'm looking for an answer of 3 over 6, so I know that Harry is incorrect. So Harry's answer makes no sense because 1/3 is equivalent to 2 over 6. Yeah, that's true. So the sum of the fractions must be greater than or less than? They're going to be greater than 2 over 6, right? Because I know my sum is really 3 over 6 because we just figured that out. So Harry, let's see, what did he do? Harry blanked the fractions as if both fractions represented wholes divided into 6 size piece parts. Yeah, he just added them across. It looks like he just added the tops and kept my the 6 in the denominator. So he just added the fractions as if both fractions represented the same whole. However, 1/3 describes a part of a whole divided into 1/3. It's divided into third size pieces. Alrighty. Jane's answer is 3 over 6. Now, when I go back to my drawing, I know that that's correct. So Jane's answer makes sense because Jane realized that 1/3 represents the same amount as 2 over 6, right? We just did that work. So she added 6 size pieces to get 3 over 6. Click check answer, and you're ready to move on to the next one. Okay, number 13. The local garden club adopted a stretch of highway, 5/10 of a mile long. In the morning, they cleaned 1/10 of a mile, and in the afternoon, they cleaned an additional 2/10 of a mile. So what I need to figure out here is how much of the afternoon and the morning did they clean, right? So I have 2/10 for the afternoon and 1/10 for the morning. I know I can add the numerators, which is 1 plus 2, to get 3 over 10. So they cleaned 3/10 of a mile. I'm going to take that 3/10 and I'm going to subtract it from 5 over 10. Okay? So I have 5 over 10 minus 3 over 10. Okay, I know that my denominators are the same, so I could just subtract my numerators. 5 minus 3 equals 2. Keep my denominator the same, I'm going to keep it 10. So I got to look for an answer that says 2 over 10. Okay, what part of the left is clean? 2 over 10. 2 over 5? No. 1/2? 1/5? 3/10? Uh-oh. None of them are equivalent to my answer. Let's see, I have 2 over 10. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my drawing, and I'm going to have 2 over 10 here. I know that 2 and 10 are both divisible by 2, meaning I could subtract my top and my bottom. I could divide my top and my bottom by 2. I apologize if I said subtract. I could divide my top and my bottom by 2 because they're both divisible by 2, meaning I can multiply a number to get 2. Okay, so 2 divided by 2. What number times 2 would equal to? I know that that's 1, all right? So 1 over, let's see, 10 divided by 2. So if I were to take 10 and divide it into two pieces, what would I get? I know I can multiply a number times 2 to get 10, and I know that number is 5. Okay, so 2/10 is equivalent to 1/5, right? Because that's it in simplified form, okay? Do you see 1/5 here? Yes, I do. I'm going to click on it, check answer, and I'm done. I hope this video helped you. If you need any more help, come to Zoom class.